Today's show is the power of PEMF and viruses. Look at this show is revolutionary. The energy medicine equipment we're going to show you today is a huge breakthrough in dealing with viruses, but not just with viruses, but bringing frequencies into the body that help to balance the body right down to the mitochondria level. Okay, how would you like to go in with a specific frequency that will go in and deal with a specific virus or microbe or even a parasite? And understand something. Healing is about thinking right, eating right, drinking right. But understand this, we are energy, light, frequency beings. And we work on frequencies. We have frequencies like blue light. We have 5G. We have all types of frequencies that are disrupting us and putting us out of balance. How would you like to learn about the most powerful tool in helping to bring the right frequencies in and to create balance and to go in and deal with predators that are actually feeding off low vibrational tissue, bringing up your vibration so that you can actually create an environment for healing? To do something, if we can, I'd like to talk about the simplicity of the device and this is how simple it is. We'll have our client, patient, whatever you want to call them, and then you can put any frequency on your phone. And then what they'll do is they'll put the frequencies on their phone, they'll plug it in, and then they'll just run it. And understand something, this equipment is so simple to use. We will show our client patients, one time, and then they come in and they do. And you have to understand something, that everything on this planet has a frequency. Everything you eat, everything you drink, and all these microbes and your tissues. So we know this. It's so simple to use. So, I've been right now, it's 40 years that I've been working with energy medicine equipment, right? Began with Rife, began with ozone. And I will tell you that I've also had like MRS mats in my clinic. I've had Beamer mats, okay? I've had almost every PMF device that's out there and we've used. And I have to say this, and I'm going to say it because it's honest, which is the powerhouse of all PMF that I know of on the planet, and I'll stand behind that. And it averages around 50% of the cost of all these other PMF devices that aren't touching it, as far as I'm concerned. And that's me putting my professional understanding and from working with his device and just seeing the symptoms change with people. And the thing is with what we do as a clinic is we will treat, but the object is to get this into everybody's hands, because treatment is one thing, but being trained on it and having it in your home is another thing, because you want to be able to go in and treat yourself, because I wonder, everything you drink and everything you eat leaves the body. The only thing that stays behind is the frequency. So what we're doing is we're hacking. This is called biohacking. So instead of trying to nutrition, right? We're going to cut to the source. We're going to do nutrition too. I mean, it's all about teamwork makes the dream work, healthy body, right? But the reality is that the only thing that stays behind, think about this, everything you eat and drink leaves the body except the frequency. So what we're doing is we're doing like Einstein said, right? Harness the frequency and get in there and change the terrain and send those bugs packing. That's all I'm saying. Everything is about energy and being able to go in there and fine tune the frequency to bring up the energy levels.
On my iPad, I have a list of frequencies that I already put in. This list is in alphabetical order of diseases, sicknesses, minor illnesses, and right now for this demonstration I'm going to look for muscles. My back muscles are a little bit sore, so I want to find something that will help that. Muscles to relax sounds like a good one. It has the frequencies after it, those frequencies that will help relax my muscles. I'm going to put in 965, 20 hertz, 120, 240, 760, 6.8, 6000, and 304. I've already put those into my function generator. We're going to go to the settings tab on the very bottom. This is a really important step because we're going to set parameters on how high and how low we want the frequencies to go. So we're going to type in 7 for the minimum frequency, and the max frequency we're going to type in 2500. The coil was designed and engineered to be more effective in these ranges between 7 and 2500. Below the max frequency is max sweep time, and we're going to type in 300 for 300 seconds, and that's the equivalent of 5 minutes. Below max sweep time is max amplitude, and you can see I'm playing around with it, and we want to set that at 95. This is really important to note. The max amplitude, when it's set to 95, the master volume and the other amplitudes that you can set on the individual frequency won't go above 95%. And this is good because it avoids overheating the device and the coils. Now we're ready to play frequencies. Let's go on to the next step on how to do that. You're going to touch the tab that says multi-tone on the bottom. This page will give you more options to add more frequencies. So you start out with one frequency and it has the 20 Hertz frequency, and then next to it on the very right side of that frequency it has 3 lines. And when you touch this, it brings down the option to change this frequency. So I'm going to change it to 7 Hertz or 7.3 Hertz, let's do. And above that you can change the different waveforms. But we're going to keep it on square wave just because it's the best wave for healing and debilitating pathogens. Now to add another frequency, you're going to push the button Add Row. And again, we'll do the same thing we did with the first frequency. We'll hit the 3 line button, and then we'll go down and we can change the frequency to exactly what we want. Now I'm going to keep on going and add some more frequencies that I'm going to use the most. I love using 23.5, 20, 50, 306, 302. I want to show you something really cool that we can do here, and it's called the sweep. Right above where you can choose your waveforms, you see this bar and it says generator, sweep, presets, and noise, and we want to choose sweep. Okay, things are going to change up a little bit, but I want you to look at set sweep start and then set sweep stop. And then to change the start and stop, we need to put in the frequency that we want to start with and then hit set sweep start. And then you put in your frequency that you want to end with, and then you'll hit the set sweep stop. And then if you wanted to repeat, hit that middle button that I'm hitting now, and that will repeat it after 5 minutes. It will keep going from 7 Hertz to 150 Hertz for 5 minutes. As you can see, our sweep time only goes up to 300 seconds because that's what we put in our parameters in the settings tab. So let's try this. Let's try this sweep. I'll push play. I'm not going to go through the whole sweep, but I'd like to try multiple frequencies at one time. So I'm going to push the 20, the 7, the 306. When you push play and you can hear it, and this is a good way to test it before you plug it into the device, just to make sure that your device is working. Also remember that the master volume is important. We get a lot of problems where this is turned all the way down and their amplitude is turned all the way up for the individual frequencies, and they're wondering why it doesn't work. Make sure to check your master volume, and as you noticed, when we scrolled it all the way up, it went to 95 and not 100% because we put that in our parameters, that we put that in the settings. Please be careful on running it on high volumes. Most PEMF therapy sessions will be between 33 and 55. Spec. Now let's go back to our function generator app. We have our first frequency is 20 Hertz. I'm decreasing the power on this frequency because it's a low frequency, and lower frequencies are high power. And right now it's running. The frequency meter is blinking, and on our amp meter it's 3.2. That's a good range. It's not going to heat up really fast. And so this amplitude bar, I can increase the power. Now we're up to 8.5 amps. Okay, We want to stay under 7 amps like it says. And so decrease it around, again, until we get down to around 3.5 amps, 4 amps. And that's a good range. That's where we want to be. I'm going to pause that and run 965, give or take 5 hertz. On the amp meter, it's low, it's 0.9, so we don't have to worry about it overheating. So I'll keep the amplitude at 100%, and now we'll check the next frequency, 120. The amplitude's at 100. It's running and the amps aren't too high. So let's run 7 hertz. Since it's a really low frequency, I lowered the amplitude already to 22%. And as you can see, it's not running. 22% is actually too high for 7 hertz. So we're going to lower it down to 9%, 8, maybe 5%, and it should turn on. Here it goes. So now it's starting to blink, and we're at 1 amp. So we know 7 hertz is working. 7 hertz is such a low frequency that the amp meter will only go up to around 2 amps before the amplifier starts tripping. So this is a good process of checking each frequency, making sure that you're at the right level. 760 was good, 6000, again on the detector. Now again, let's play a really low frequency, 6.8. The amplitude is at 13%. It's still not coming on, so we are going to lower the amplitude just a little bit more to 5% and see if it comes on. Alright, so now we have 1 amp and the frequency meter is blinking. And this is very normal to see on the machine. Now that we've customized the power for each individual frequency, we can now play all these frequencies in our PEMF healing session. I'm going to note that the frequency meter is going to jump around since we have multiple frequencies going on at one time. Now let's say we wanted to increase the power. On our 20 hertz we're only at 24%, and let's increase it and see what it does. It only increased it up to 2 amps, and it didn't trip the amplifier. So let's try 7 hertz. We're going to increase the amplitude for that, and we got up to 3 amps, and it tripped the amplifier. So if it quickly blinks on the frequency meter and the amp meter is at 0, we know that that's the amplifier. It's not the protect indicator. The protect indicator is more for overheating. So this is really nice because the amplifier is protecting itself and the longevity of your machine. Now let's see if 6.8 hertz will do the same thing. We'll increase the power and see how high we can get. Alright, so trip the amplifier. We're going to decrease the power and it'll turn back on. We'll increase it to a comfortable range where it won't trip off. Now let's turn off most of these frequencies and just run 2 frequencies. When you run 1 or 2 frequencies, you're going to get a lot more power than you would doing several frequencies. We're doing 20 and 965 and we're up to 6 amps. Now there's a couple ways of decreasing and increasing your power. Let's say if it was higher than 6 amps, you would want to decrease the power with the amplitude, or on the volume buttons on the side of your iPad, you can adjust the power as well. So for example, I'll decrease the power down to 2 amps, and then I can increase the power with the volume buttons up to 6 amps again, and that's full power for just those 2 frequencies. The last thing I'd like to show you is the master volume. It's at the bottom of the screen, master volume, and when you increase and decrease it with the buttons, it's changing the master volume. Also, you can increase it and decrease it by scrolling it with your finger, just like you do with the amplitudes.